What is up, everybody? Today I've got a mock draft for you. I got the whole lottery. So I want to dive right into this one. It's not a simulated one, so everybody gets like it's basically like the NFL draft. You tank, you get the worst record, you get the number one overall pick. It's basically just like by record and stuff. So let's hop right in. Timberwolves, obviously, a lot of people watching are Timberwolves fans because this is a Timberwolves channel, and I'm pretty happy about this. Cade Cunningham to the Minnesota Timberwolves. He is the best by far prospect in this draft. Nobody else is extremely close to him. I think Jalen Suggs for some teams could make sense, but every single team that lands number one, you got to take Cade Cunningham at this point. That's just how good he is. It's kind of like a Zion Williamson situation. Like all these teams are trying to take for one specific player. But this is a really good top class in my opinion, especially these top three guys. Next up, the Rockets, I'm taking the best player available, and I think he's a really good fit for them, Jalen Suggs. I'm really happy about them bringing in a guy like Christian Wood, and you got John Wall sticking around there for a little bit longer. We'll see if they deal him or not. But I think Jalen Suggs makes a lot of sense. I think he could be the future point guard of that team because I really doubt you re-sign a guy like John Wall for an extreme amount of money after his contract's up because he's probably going to want a lot. But that just makes the most sense to me. Like, in these top few picks, you got to take best player available most of the time, unless it's like a center-on-center pick, like, say, the Timberwolves got the first overall pick. You're not going to take James Wiseman with that pick because it would just mess up Karl-Anthony Towns too much. But next up with the Pistons, I'm taking their best player available, Evan Mobley. Not the best fit pick in my opinion. If you want to go fit there, I'd probably go like a small forward option. But you got a guy like Saddiq Bey down there. I'm pretty happy about what Saddiq Bey's been doing for the Pistons. But this dude is just so talented. A lot of people look at him as the next Anthony Davis. He's going to be amazing for that rim protection. And he's going to fit really well next to Jeremiah Grant, in my opinion, who's their 6'8" power forward. I'm pretty confident that Evan Mobley is a top 3 pick in this draft class, and any team should be really psyched about getting him. Next up for the Magic, I've got them taking Jalen Green. Shooting guard's not the biggest need for them, but this is another spot where you got to take best player available. Jalen Green with the G League Ignite. He played really, really good in my opinion. I love watching him play. He's a super athletic guard. Like, this dude can score the basketball really well. I love watching him in high school too. He's been pretty big for a while, and I think the hype is all. I think it's gonna be worth the hype. I think he's definitely worth that 4th overall pick. Next up, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I've got another best player available situation. I'm going with Jonathan Kuminga. He is a guy that's probably going to take a little bit to develop in the NBA, in my opinion. I would give him a year. I don't expect him to be an absolute top rookie coming out, but when he does start to develop, he's going to become a really good prospect. So yeah, if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's definitely my pick, and I think that's what they would do if they were in that situation. Next up for the Wizards, I've got them taking the Florida State 6th man, Scotty Barnes. This is another weird thing that people are going to kind of weirdly react at. Same with the Patrick Williams stuff last year. A lot of people, including me, I was really confused by why a 6th man on a Florida State basketball team was taken number 4 overall, but that's what Florida State seems to do, and they did it again this year. Scotty Barnes, one of their best players, if not their best player, was coming off the 6th man. He's a super athletic forward that I feel really confident about, and he's got a really good passing game too, in my opinion. I'm pretty psyched for him. I'm high on him as a prospect as well. He's definitely a top 10 prospect in this draft, and he makes a lot of sense in that Wizards team too because he doesn't need the ball in his hands constantly. He's not like a guard because you got 2 guys on that team, Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, who are going to want the ball every possession. So you kind of got to fill him around with more role players, and I think he's one of the best role players you can ever take, Scotty Barnes, so I'm pretty confident in him. Next up, for the Thunder, we got Duke freshman Jalen Johnson. So with the Thunder here, this is like a team that's got a ton of picks, and you definitely have talent and guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Personally, I don't really know what their timeline is. I feel like Shai kind of fits that, and I think you just got to keep building pieces around him. This is definitely not the last high draft pick they should be getting. I really think you got to keep adding stuff like that, and then maybe throw a bunch of picks at a star, and maybe you can contend for a championship at that point. But it's going to be a little bit of a process with them. And all Thunder fans and the players that play for the Thunder know that that's going to be a process. Next up for the Raptors, I am going with the senior Corey Kispert. Yeah, it's kind of a reach, but I'm just so happy about what I saw from him at Gonzaga this year. He did just about everything for them. If he was a freshman, he would be a top pick in this class, no doubt. But he is a senior, so it's definitely harder to develop seniors. Because if you're taking an 18-year-old over a 21-year-old player like, say, Moses Moody, those dudes are going to develop a lot better, in my opinion, most of the time, because it's a lot harder to develop a guy who's already getting close to their prime or semi-close to their prime. So we'll see what happens there. But I think Corey Kispert is a really talented basketball player, and he definitely deserves to go really high in this draft. Definitely a lottery pick. Next up for the Kings, I've got Kai Jones. Texas, they had a really bad tournament run in the NCAA tournament. They lose round one. It's one game, though, in my opinion. I'm not putting too much weight on that. They did win the Big 12 tournament, which is pretty cool, against Oklahoma State. His stats, if you look up his stats, they're going to completely deceive you. He's not even getting 10 points a game. Like, this kid is just so talented, though, and NBA teams know that. It's the same thing with like a guy like Patrick Williams next year. His stats didn't look too pretty, but the talent level is there, and I think this is a really good pick. Next up, the Magic. I think this is an absolute steal. Moses Moody. This dude is 18 years old, leads Arkansas to the Elite Eight. Unfortunately, loses to Baylor, the champions. But he's just such a talented basketball player. He's basically a 3-and-D prospect that can fit in literally any system you put him in. So, this kid's got so much potential, in my opinion. 6'6" guard/forward. I really don't see a team that he wouldn't really fit well with. Like, that's just how good he is. Next up for the Pelicans, I have Keon Johnson finally getting drafted. Kind of a fall. I don't think he's an elite prospect in this draft, as ESPN kind of has him listed as the 6th overall prospect. I don't think he's that high. Specifically with the Pelicans, they still need talent. I think he fits that offense pretty well. I mean, they're going to be building around a guy like Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram for a while, so you kind of got to get more role players to go along with it. If you look at the Pelicans' talent level, you kind of question, how is this team not in the playoffs, or at least the play-in? And I kind of wonder too, but I think you just got to keep building young talent around them and get a little older. And yeah, maybe this is a pick that the Pelicans consider trading for, maybe a little package if you want to trade Lonzo Ball, and this pick for maybe a semi-all-star like caliber player. I think that'd be a good decision. So we'll see what they do with that pick. But next up for the Pacers, we got the junior Davion Mitchell, another massive 3-and-D prospect. He's a little bit of a shorter guard. I don't think that means an extreme amount. I don't really think that means too much. But this dude, whoever he's guarding, is having a bad night in college basketball. He is so talented. I try not to put his age. I try not to. Like, he's a little older. He's about 21, I believe, or 20, maybe even 22 years old. I try not to keep that against him too much, even though you definitely have to consider it because of development purposes. But I still feel like he can develop into a much better player. He's a lights-out shooter from 3, and he's just such an electric guy on the court. I feel like that makes a lot of sense for the Pacers. Next up for the Warriors, I'm going power forward Isaiah Jackson. There just isn't too many picks that I feel like the Warriors could work with. Like, you can't take a guard. You got Stephen Curry. Why would you take a shooting guard? You got a guy like Klay Thompson coming back next year. That forward area is like the spot that I want to attack. I'm not high on Franz Wagner. That's why I didn't take him here. I don't think they would either. I just don't see him going high in mock drafts at all. I don't know why ESPN has them ranked this high on their big board. But I think Isaiah Jackson makes sense. A nice big forward for them. Of course, he'd probably have to. I think Draymond Green might even have to slip into small forward because he's smaller than Isaiah Jackson. So we'll see how that goes. But the Warriors' defense is probably not going to be too great. James Wiseman definitely has to step up, and hopefully Isaiah Jackson can help him. And with the last pick of this mock draft, we are going with the kid that's kind of blowing up, Josh Giddey. Be compared to more of a guy like Ben Simmons lately. The prospect that nobody knows about is what they've been saying right now. He's a 6'8" shooting guard for the Spurs. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you definitely need down low talent, but when you look at this draft, how many center talents do you like? I like Evan Mobley a lot. I don't like Luka Garza for the first round at least. Like there's not too many big talents at center that I really like. So you kind of have to settle with more of the shooting guard, small forward, or maybe even power forward stuff. But that's the whole mock draft. Please leave some comments below. This is my first mock draft, keep in mind, so things will change a lot, and my opinions on these prospects will change a lot. I really do like looking at this one, though. I think this makes a lot of sense for each team. The pick that I like the most, and if I were a fan of this team, I would be, if I were a Magic fan, I would absolutely be dying, and like I would be so happy about this. Moses Moody at number 10, phenomenal pick. If I'm a team in the top 8, I would definitely like taking him if I need a guard. From the Raptors, I would think about taking him for sure, but I thought maybe Kyle Lowry might stick around for a little bit, so I go Corey Kispert. But hey, maybe my next mock draft see me taking Moses Moody there. But hey, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm definitely going to try to pump out some more 2021 NBA mock drafts in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.